everybody, Lisa A. Romano here, the Breakthrough Life Coach, and a few weeks ago I asked my YouTube, my Instagram, and my Facebook communities to help me out with my next video. So I wanted to do a video that was rooted in some of the most ridiculous things narcissistic people say to us that we have to deal with. So what came back was quite overwhelming. So many of us suffer from narcissistic abuse. We are suffering brain fog. We are confused. When you are suffering from narcissistic abuse, you question your reality because you have been dealing with somebody who has been methodically poisoning your ability to trust your emotions. So they mess with your head. They separate you from your sense of self. They make you doubt you have a right to your emotions and to your experiences of them. They cut you off at the knees. They teach you that you don't have a right to be angry at them or to even have a feeling. So I was pretty overwhelmed by the response. There were days that I was out and about shopping at Trader Joe's, and I would check in and I would read the comments on YouTube or on Facebook, and I stopped in my tracks because I was so overwhelmed by such abuse so many of us have had to experience. From my heart, I am so sorry that any of you have had to deal with these types of comments from narcissistic spouses, or a narcissistic mother, or a narcissistic father. I am so sorry that there is this evil or this darkness out there in this world that comes over a narcissist that makes it impossible for them to have true empathy for other people. And narcissists need to hurt other people because they feel so powerless at their core. They're struggling with so much shame. So they have to hurt people to compensate for the shame that they feel because they have the inability to go within. But for now, I want to read to you some of the things that you guys have shared with me. So Harrison wrote, "When I told my mom her husband molested me, she said, 'Why would he molest you? I am so much prettier than you are.'" Sally said, "When I told my mom that my sister was suicidal, she said, 'Well, she can go ahead and kill herself. Who does she think she's threatening?'" Jules said, "When I told my mom 2 years ago, 'I don't feel as though you love me,' her reply was, 'You have never proven to me that you are worthy of loving.'" Kev said, when he spoke to his mother and said, "I don't feel like you really care to know me, Mom," her response was, "I know all I need to know about you." MC said, "When I spoke to my narcissistic husband, he said, 'When I ask you, then you can give me your opinion.'" Sharon said, "When I start conversations off saying I feel, my narcissistic friend always says, 'Oh, stop with your feelings already. My God, do you think anybody cares how you feel?'" Justice said, "I recently went to a doctor for what I thought was a food allergy. When I told her I thought I was allergic to wheat, she looked up and said, 'Oh, don't tell me you're a Google doctor.' She laughed at me, and all I could feel was shame." WJ said, her stepfather said to her, "It's your fault your mother and I are getting a divorce." I was only 6 when he said that. Marge said her mother said to her, "You kids are the reason my life sucks. I wish I used birth control." Matea said that her narcissist said, "You need to understand that I'm not making fun of your feelings. I'm just really sarcastic, and I don't like to take things seriously. It's not a big deal unless you make it a big deal." Totally messing with Matea's head. Misty said, "According to my 11-year-old daughter, My narc mother-in-law told her, "Your parents do not love you. Your mother is psychotic. Your father is a drug addict and will be in jail soon. Your parents cannot take care of you and feed you correctly. I am the only one that loves you, and only I can raise you because I am the best mother." I've been no contact with this woman for a year now, still working on healing my entire family. Rafaela said, her narcissist said, "Everybody hates you and you are way too sensitive." Jessica said, her narcissistic husband said, "You gave our son autism." Melanie said, her narcissist said, "We would get along so much better if you would just submit to me and stop being so independent." Naughty Knot said, a narcissist said to her, "God hates divorce and you're going to burn in hell for leaving me." Georgia said that her narcissist said, "I'm going to make a list and write down on it every time you do something wrong. Then you can see how much of an idiot you are." This is what my husband said 2 days before I left him, which was 3 months ago, and I'm now being bombarded with declarations of love and abusive messages. Dawn said that her narcissist said, "If you can't tell me the date and the time when I said or did this thing that you claim that I did, then it never happened. You are the best I could ever do." He actually thought that that was a compliment. Amber said, her abusive narcissist said, "I didn't push you, you're just clumsy." Elrod said, "As my daughter and I walked in on him having an affair, my daughter says to my narcissistic husband, 'Daddy, how could you do this to us?' His response was, 'I haven't done anything to you.'" Anjali said that her narcissist said, "Next time, check with me before you go making things up. I'll tell you what your reality is." JR said, "In response to cheating on me for years, my narcissist says, 'Yeah, but I never filed for divorce. You did, and God's gonna punish you. You're gonna go to hell.' He also said, 'You made me cheat. I never thought I would do that.'" What the heck? I mean, it's just amazing. Trang Pak said, "I'm not trying to criticize you or hurt your feelings. I'm trying to make you better." So said her narcissist. Rachel said, her narcissistic ex said, "My therapist says you are probably on the bipolar spectrum. He was screaming in my face when he said, 'What kind of a person takes a bite out of candy and then just throws it away like they don't like it? I don't know who it is I'm dating. You said you're the kind of person who squeezes the toothpaste tube from the bottom and you clearly squeeze it from the middle. What kind of a person has 2 first names? Who the F are you? Sure, get up and have a temper tantrum like a baby. If you walk out that door, it's over." Rachel also said that her ex-narcissist said, "I can't believe your sister changed her plans for her birthday. Your entire family sucks. They completely ruined my whole weekend. We're never going to work out. You live this crazy lifestyles where you're all over the place. We're too different, Rachel. I need to be with someone normal." This was after I told him I was meeting a colleague for a drink at 6:30 on a night we weren't even going to be together. Julie said that her narcissist said, "I use condoms when I have sex with other women out of respect for you. I would never jeopardize my health or the health of the woman I love by having unprotected sex." Larson said, her narcissist said, "Stop reading books, stop going to the gym. Men like stupid, insecure women." You can't make this stuff up. This is what people who are living with narcissistic people put up with and go through. And so on my end, what I heard my ex-husband say were things like, "If you don't stop talking, everybody's going to think you're crazy, Lisa. I never said I was going to do that, Lisa. See, now you're making crap up in that wacko head of yours," okay? Another thing that my ex used to say was, my poor kids. Mommy wants to divorce daddy. I wonder where mommy is going to make you kids live. Will the new house have a pool like this house does, mommy? This is what he did to torture me when I finally got the confidence to file for divorce. This man literally tortured me and our children day in and day out, I would say, for about 7 years before he let go. Another thing that he said to my son, which completely destroyed me, and it took me a couple of days to rebound from it, was after I bought a new house. We were getting divorced, we sold our house. I bought this tiny little house in the town that I grew up in, and it was a mess, but it was a house. So the porch was rotted, the front gate had to be replaced, the windows were rotted. I mean, the garage door was falling off its hinges, but there was going to be love in that house, and I knew that I could turn it around. But my ex-husband was losing control over me, and he certainly didn't want the kids to be happy in their new home. So one day he dropped our son off, and he says to him, "You poor kids, this is where your mother wants you to live? Oh my God, this is just terrible. You poor kids." So this is the type of thing that he would do to mess with my children's minds. So he couldn't hurt me anymore directly. And so he thought that he could absolutely go to the children and make the children feel bad about where they lived. He knew that would hurt me, and he didn't care. He totally messed with my son's head. This is what he said to me after I begged him to go into therapy while we were still married. "Lisa, if you feel unstable and you feel crazy, then you should go to a doctor. If you feel crazy, then go. Even your own mother and father think you're crazy, so maybe it's a good idea you go into therapy." This is what he said to me after I told him that I was unhappy and I thought that our marriage was in trouble. So completely flipped the script, and rather than acknowledge that we were in trouble, he put it all on me and then twisted my mind to make me feel that there was something wrong with me for wanting to go into therapy. He used to say things like, "You have no right to be unhappy." And I would think, "Baby, I don't have a right to be unhappy." He would say, "You have a house, your kids are healthy. What's wrong with you? There's nothing wrong with me. Women would kiss my feet." In the middle of an argument, he would say, "Do you know that 50% of the men in America have affairs?" So again, that was just his language to try to like punish me and threaten me for bringing something to his attention that I wanted to talk to him about. So after, I just noticed something else that he said. While we were still married, my in-laws took the deed to the house and they went to an attorney that was a family friend, and they crossed my name off the deed to the house. And we're standing there and we're looking at the deed. We're looking at it. It's in our hands. And I see my name is crossed off, and I see that they've initialed it. And I say to him, "Your parents crossed my name off the deed to the house." And he says, "No, they didn't. We're looking at it, dear ones. Looking at it." And he says, "No, they didn't." And I said, "Yeah, they did. My name is, that's a line. See, that's my name. That's a line. Those are their initials. Those are your parents' initials." And then the attorney initialed it. And he said, "No, they didn't." Staring at it. I'm telling you, this is what I went through with him. Another time we walked out of therapy and he looked at me and he said, "Get an effing lawyer." And so I got a lawyer, right? You're not going to stay in therapy. We're not going to work on this marriage. I guess it's over. And he ends up saying to me, "You gave up on this marriage. You did. The kids will now come from a broken home because you're so selfish." I mean, it's just mind-boggling to think about the types of things that narcissists say. And we, as healing codependent people on the quest for health and happiness, and who are taking codependent recovery seriously, and who want to attract healthier relationships in the future, those of us who have been raised by narcissistic parents, we have to understand that our sense of self, our sense of perception, our sense of reality has been messed with. And this causes us to distrust the self. And I do believe that there's value in hearing what other people have gone through, because it can help you orient yourself to time and space, and it can also help you orient yourself to the self, meaning that you now understand that you're not crazy, that there are other people out there that have gone through what you've gone through, and hearing out loud some of the things, the narratives that a narcissist will use against you to manipulate you, to control you, to keep you there. You know, it's so interesting. People always ask abuse survivors, why did you stay? I think a greater question is, why do abusers stay? If you hate me this much that you think that I'm below you, why do you stay, right? And so it's so interesting that narcissists stay. Narcissists abuse. They lock you in, right? They stay until you're no longer any fun to play with. And so when you start pulling your energy back and you stop reacting, when you stop being that ball of yarn that is rolling all over the ground and you play dead, when you shutty or you go gray rock, when you pull yourself back, when you peel the narcissist's skin off of you, when you leave their skin on the floor and you start to hold on to yourself, the narcissist just doesn't want to play with you anymore, because they need to plug into the energy that you give off in terms of reactivity. So when you react, consider that energy. And so a narcissist will thrive off that energy. And when you no longer react and you've got nothing to give out, the narcissist will very oftentimes leave you alone. Not before, generally, they find another source of narcissistic supply. And sometimes that's when they get worse. I know in my case, when my ex-husband found a new supply, that's when he just amped up to his nastiness. It was like he got a boost of confidence. That's when he completely discarded the children. He has nothing to do with the children right now. He will, if you spoke to him, he would tell you that it's all their fault, and he would have no memory of the things that he did. And he would be able to justify every action that he's taken. And in his head, through his filter, he is 100% right. And his new supply also agrees with him. And so you've got two people that are now locked into this one-sided reality, and they are unable to see the big picture. And, you know, for me and my kids, it's a matter of just accepting what you can't control. It's very sad, but it is what it is, you know, and we all have to deal with that, you know, in our own life when we're dealing with the narcissist, narcissistic discard, the whole thing. But I really thought there was going to be value in you all hearing some of the insane phrases that narcissists use. I mean, you gave our son autism. Who says that? And so I hope that what you take away from this video is the sense that you're not alone. I hope that in the phrases that I shared with you, you hear some of the phrases that you've had to tolerate so that you don't feel so alone. It's so much easier for us to see abuse when we're observing it happen to someone else. And I think that's because when abuse is happening to us, we are in the throes of shame. And we lose the ability to be objective about abuse and victim. We don't feel like a victim, and it doesn't feel like abuse, because as we're being abused, we're dealing with shame. And when we're dealing with shame, we're dealing with blame. So shame is always associated with blame. And so if you're feeling shame, and then there's this aspect of, oh, it must be my fault that he feels this way. Or maybe I am crazy, or maybe I did deserve this, or maybe he is a nice guy because he wore condoms when he was screwing my sister. You know, I mean, that's what happens in our head. So we have to hear from other people. Community support is so helpful. That's what happens in my Facebook groups and in my coaching programs. There's this beautiful mirroring of, oh my God, I'm not alone. You know, your husband said that to you, or your wife said that to you, or your mother said that to you. Oh my God, my mother and my father said and did the same things to me. I'm not crazy. Aha, eureka. No wonder I feel this way. and we're able to process shame much more readily. So I hope that you don't feel so alone. I hope that hearing other people's tidbits of conversations with their narcissists make you realize that narcissistic abuse is real. And if you have been spoken to this way, your sense of self has been rocked with. And so if you don't trust yourself, that's normal. But definitely stay on the healing path. Definitely research codependency recovery. Definitely research abandonment trauma. Definitely research what it means to heal from narcissistic abuse. Go into 12-step programs if you feel like you must, and surround yourself with people who understand trauma. Do not talk to people who don't understand trauma, because when it comes to narcissistic abuse, when you are the victim, you are the scapegoat. You are the whipping boy. And the narcissist has done an amazing job at triangulating, at smear campaigning, and at gaslighting you. And there has been a great effort to make the narcissist feel secure that they could abuse you and get away with it. So that means your mother might not believe you, your sister might not believe you, even if you're getting abused at work, the other employees might not believe you. And so be very, very picky about who you share your wounds with, because your wounds are sacred. And you should only share them with people who you know that you can trust and who can understand you. So thank you for being here. Thank you for being on the healing path. Thank you for following the path to enlightenment and for finding the light within. Namaste. Until next time.